Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and I wanted to cover the topic of web storage. Basically, web storage is an API that's standardized in all the web browsers, and it allows you to store information per website in the on the user's computer. Okay, and there's two types of storage. There is session storage. Okay. And session storage is temporary. Basically, the minute the user closes the window, this gets deleted. Then there's local storage. And local storage basically is permanent until you delete it. So basically, if you never delete it, whenever they go to your website, that information will be available on their computer for you to pull from. Okay? And the thing to keep in mind is you generally don't want to store sensitive information in these areas, because then someone else could hack into that person's computer and then they just visit your website and they'll be able to see all the information in there. But it's very useful for storing things like, let's say you wanted to make a game and you wanted to make sure that they could save their score, but you don't want to have a database. You can save the score in their computer, and then when they come back to play the game, it keeps track of where they left off. And essentially the way it keeps track of everything is through key value pairs, and the values are always strings. Okay, so let's show you an example. So first we'll store something in local storage. So actually let's go to my DOM or my HTML. Okay, we're gonna have two buttons. Control C, Control V. Okay, here we're gonna do store. And then here we'll call this one retrieve. Save. Okay, and then we're going to create two functions. So const store equals. Okay, and let's actually pretend there's something we want to store here. Okay, we want to store my object. Const my obj equals, and has all these pieces of data in it. So like username, John Smith, UI mode. They wanted their UI in dark mode, all these settings. I can't just save this object in there, and you'll see what I mean in a second. So basically I'm going to create this function, and I'm going to want to store that my obj in there. So basically what I have to do is first, well, actually just do this, window.localStorage, because it's part of this window object. Okay, which has other cool stuff you can use. Window.localStorage, and then you do .setItem, which means you're going to want to set an item. And it literally works the same way if it's session storage. The only difference is you change this to session storage. And then basically what you do is you're going to put a key. So we're going to call this settings. And then you put the value, which in this case, which is supposed to be a string. So then what you want to do is do like how do I think about this? It's my obj dot stringify, I think it is. Stringify. And what that does, it takes the object and turns it into a string. Okay, so let's see if that works. But, just to make sure that it works, I'm going to console.log my obj.stringify, so that way I can see that it actually does turn it into a string like it's supposed to. Okay, so here's the website. I'm going to refresh it, retrieve. Let me open up the inspector. Go to the console. Type in my object is not a function. Okay, so as I thought, that's not exactly the way that should work. I think it might be JSON.stringify, but let me just go Google it real quick. Figure you guys can join me on this. Yeah, it's JSON.stringify. That's what I thought. Let me just make sure. Then I pass in the object, right? It's the easy fix. JSON.stringify. Yeah, you pass in. Okay, cool. Okay, so basically, let's change this. It's JSON.stringify, and then I put my object here. And again, I want to console log it just to make sure I'm doing this right. So Control C. Cool. Save. And then let's go over here. Let's refresh and hit send. And see, there you can see like, hey, look, it turned our object into a JSON string. So then when I hit store, it's going to store it, and now I can know that it's stored by going into memory. If I go into the memory in my tools, actually no, I think it might be application. Yeah, here we go. See, I can see local storage and session storage. If I go to local storage, I can just click on that and see if anything gets stored. I don't see anything stored, so that's not a good sign. So let's inspect. Window.localStorage. It might be that the window needs to be uppercase, but let's check. Window.localStorage. I'd rather look up set item because that's where we're at. Actually, let me take a look at that set item. Yeah, that should be fine. Let's see here. That's so local storage, that's set item. Okay, they didn't use the window, so I won't use the window either. Okay, save. Let's see if that makes a difference. Local storage, that's set item. Settings. Set item, yep, cat, Tom, good. Okay, that's save. Let's go over here. Over here, let's refresh. Oh, I know why. The function's not running. I never actually put the function as a click event. Okay, so let's go over here, and I actually have to put on click equals store. And let me just make sure that that's what I called the function. Store. Good. So let's save that. And now let's refresh. Okay. I clicked on the store. Let me go in here now. And there we see it. See, settings, username John Smith, UI mode dark. So I saved it to local storage. Wonderful. Okay. And now I can use that. So let's try to use that. Okay. Let's go to index.js. And then we'll do another function called const retrieve equals. In this case, we're going to do local storage dot get item. We want to actually fetch the item from our local storage, and then it's just going to ask you for what key. So what is it? What did you call it? We called it settings. Okay, that was our key here. So we're basically saying under this key, store this stuff. Okay, so now, and we need to store it somewhere. So we're going to store it const my stuff. Just because it's late in the day and my brain isn't all there. So const my stuff. But the thing is going to give it back to me as a string. And I don't want it as a string. Okay. I want to turn it into a JSON object. So I think I just need to do a .json on it like that. And then that should turn it back into an object. Okay. So let's see here. And then what we'll do is we'll console log my stuff to show that that should end up just console logging that object. Save. And then I need to put that as a click event on the other button. So on click equals retrieve. Save. Now we can go back over here, refresh. I mean, it's already, see, I don't have to hit store again because it's already permanently stored in here until I take it out. But now if I hit retrieve, we'll go to the console first. Retrieve, uncat, local storage, I get item, JSON is not a function. Okie dokie. Well, okay, let's do this one step at a time. I want to take off the JSON for a moment. Actually, it might be just uppercase JSON. Let's give that a shot before I go to plan B. Yep, okay. So let me do that for a second. And just show you that the string comes out real quick first. Then we'll talk about turning it into JSON so you can have an object. Refresh, I hit retrieve, and see, it got the information out of there. Because again, that's not console logging the actual original object, it's console logging what we retrieved from local storage. Now, turning string to JSON. I think it's parse JSON actually, now that I think about it, but let's just do the Google search in JavaScript. Yep, JSON.parse. Oy vey. Okay, so let's see here. We put this in there, and then this is going to be JSON.parse. There we go. And now, if we do this, I refresh, I hit retrieve, and see now it's an object. So see, I can actually collapse the properties and stuff. And that's it. That's all you're doing. You just, basically the best thing to do is if you're storing a lot of information, store it in an object. Okay, and then you store it in that object, all the information you want to save, and then you just stringify it on the way in, and you parse it on the way out. And then you have that ability to store information there. Again, you don't want to store too much information, and one thing to keep in mind is that it's per domain name. So if you have a website with like subdomain names, so like if you have like, for example, alexmerced.com, and then there's subdomain.alexmerced.com, subdomain.alexmerced.com has a completely separate local storage. So you can't reference what you stored on alexmerced.com from subdomain.alexmerced.com. I ran into that issue, and what you can do is you can try then you have to like create a database to store the information and use it to pass between websites. But then it's like, then that kind of ruins the benefit of using local storage in the first place, outside of just using it as a way to reduce the amount of API calls you're making. Keep that in mind so you know what those barriers are. And again, the only difference between this and session storage is that session storage is deleted every time you close the browser. And there's two more other functions to know in here. There's local storage .remove, which removes a key. So then you would just put in which key you want to remove from local storage. And then there's local storage .clear, which clears the whole thing completely. It gets rid of all the keys for that particular website. Okay, and basically you're always able to modify the local storage from the website that you're on. It's all based on the URL. So basically when you visit it on that browser, on that computer, so again, if you have Google Chrome and Internet Explorer, they're going to have two separate local storages again. So it's per computer, per browser, per website. And that URL, again, that subdomain counts as a different website. But as long as you know that, you should be able to use this to your advantage. And it's pretty neat and it's pretty cool. And I recommend getting familiar with local storage and session storage. And again, all you do is replace local with session on any of these, and you're using session storage. It's just a difference in when they delete or if they delete. So have a great day. Enjoy.